Hello and welcome to the Postgrad Festival Week, and this is the final session of the week, set to be one of the most popular sessions with Fresh Living. Now, just before I hand you over to Fresh Living, I just want to remind you that this is a live session, and if you do wish to ask any questions and you're watching either on the live Zoom facility or you're watching via Facebook or LinkedIn today, please get your questions in on social media, on the Messenger facility, on Zoom via the Q&A section at the top. Now, what will today's session cover? We're going to go through all things accommodation with Fresh. We're going to talk about postgrad.com, an opportunity for you to win £500 bursary, and what is coming up next in terms of UK festivals, and we'll also recap what's happened throughout the week. Without hanging around, here are Fresh.
Hi everyone, so I'm Katy Lewis. I'm Head of Customer Experience for Fresh. Been with the business now for over 8 years. Absolutely love my time with Fresh and working very closely with the residents team. I've also got Kimberly as well, my colleague from Skyline. Kim, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, hi there. My name is Kimberly. I manage one of the properties down on the south coast in the wonderful sunny Bournemouth, and I've been with Fresh for nearly 3 years now. So, yeah, loving it.
Brilliant. So we've just got a brief presentation just to go through with you guys, if that's okay. Just want to give you a little insight into Fresh and why you should choose one of our student homes. So living with Fresh. So Fresh is an award-winning student homes provider, as stated by our fantastic interim head of Fresh, Jane Crouch. It is very much our mission to make all of the students feel like they belong in our properties and feel at home. We are massively proud of the awards which we've recently won in the 2021 National Student Housing Survey, and some of which relate back specifically to Wellbeing Awards, which we are incredibly proud for, and a direct result, I believe, of our Wellbeing programme, which we'll go into further detail later on in this presentation. You'll see here that 87% of our residents love living with us at Fresh and have stated that they recommend us to their friend, which we are incredibly proud about. And 69% of our residents feel their residents team care about their well-being, which is, as I mentioned, incredibly important to us. They've even marked us 12% above average for all of the private halls across the UK and Ireland, again, which is a direct reflection of how much our residents team go above and beyond with our residents every day. We are located in over 60 locations across the UK and Ireland, as displayed by this fantastic map. And we've got fantastic choice of modern and spacious rooms across all of our properties with all of the essentials which you could expect to see. We've got fantastic study rooms right in the comfort of your own home if you chose to come and live with us in Fresh. We've got individual and group study options within our properties across the UK and Ireland. But equally, we've got fantastic desk spaces within your self-contained studio or ensuite cluster room as well. So plenty of options there for you to study whilst you're at your time in university. And our friendly residents team are always on hand to help if you would like to collect a parcel from them in reception, or just go down for a friendly cuppa and have a bit of a chat with the residents team. We always welcome that interaction. And why Fresh? These are just a few examples of the different aspects of Fresh which you can expect from many of our properties across the UK and Ireland, including all-inclusive bills, fantastic social events and engagement, which correlate very closely with the Wellbeing programme, which we'll go through in just a second. And what makes our residents team so fantastic is that personable interaction with each and every one of our students, and really, I feel, going above and beyond to making sure that you feel that you belong in our properties and that you feel at home in our properties as well. But more on the Wellbeing programme, I'm going to hand over to my fantastic colleague Kimberly, who is one of the leads within launching the Wellbeing platform. Over to you, Kim.
Thank you, Katie. Yeah, so one thing that I'm going to cover today is the bee wellbeing. This is something that we have in all of our fresh properties, which is very much the heart of our community. It's something that we've implemented to make sure that all of our students feel welcome, they've got their home away from home, and we complement their lifestyles. When putting this together, we came up with 4 pillars, and these are the biggest ethos within our properties. I'll talk you through those 4 pillars that we have. So one of them is to be active. You know, if you're more active, you're more focused, you're more motivated, your well-being is improved. So this is something that we really drive within our properties. Don't worry if you're not a gym bunny, that's not what it's about. It's about getting moving. It's about, you know, making those extra steps. It's about having a healthy lifestyle, which in the long term is going to lead to a better future and better studying, and that's why you're here. One of the other pillars that we have within our property is to be connected. So we want to make sure that, you know, this is your home away from home, that you make friendships here, that you meet people. And you know, we've got a very open door policy with all of our resident teams. Like, you can come and see us whenever you want. We are here. So yeah, that's one of the second pillars. The third is to be social. So within our properties, we have fantastic social events, and they vary from a book club to a pizza night to a quiz night. We have something for everyone. So whether you're in a studio and you want to dip in and out of meeting people, or whether you just want to get out of your flat and you want to come down into the communal space for a change of scenery, we have something for everyone. And the last one is to be supported. You know, during your time here, we want to make sure that all of our, you know, residents are fully supported, whether it is in day-to-day living, whether it, you know, is for mental well-being, whatever it is. We have got the connections, the contact details, so we can make sure that you are getting the help that you need. And like I said, with our residence teams on site, the open door policy is we're always here for a chat. We may not have the answers, but we can find you the people that will. And the aims of the B program, why we decided to do it, you know, I repeat it again, this is your home away from home. We want you to feel that as soon as you walk into this building that you belong. You don't just belong in your flat, you belong in the whole entire building, and we want you to create that community. We want everyone to be involved, whether it's you know, in the events, to make friends, whatever it is. And we have all the resources to help you point you in the right direction so you can get the support that you need to succeed. And here's a little example of the calendar that we follow during your stay here with us. So, you know, we have sort of a theme through the month to help you, you know, get involved. So in September, it's all about fresh start. So we help you get ready for this fresh start. We go about goal setting up your room to make sure that it's a beautiful environment for you to succeed, you know, and help you plan your week so you're here to achieve. And as you can see throughout the year, we have different themes, really making sure that we have something for everyone. My favorite, I do like the Grow It Fresh. We hand out lots of plant pots to all of our students, herb seeds and things like that, you know, really sort of getting a nice environment in your room. So yeah, there's a bit of a taster of what we do, and it does vary from property for property. And also as well, we have lots of different students from all around the world coming to our buildings, and we want them to feel at home. So we will also put on events to support their cultural needs, and also for students that don't know about those cultures, to introduce them to those cultures, to make sure they go away, you know, with a more diverse look on life. And now for the questions and answer section.
Do you know what? I think I'm going to start with your well-being slide. I think that was first I've seen of that across any university or accommodation provider as well. Can we just touch upon that in terms of the last couple of years with COVID, and you know, it's been an unfortunate situation for everyone. What have you been doing to help students, especially international students who come a long way, can feel a bit anxious about coming to a place they don't know about, and then they catch COVID? What have you been doing to help them and feel more welcomed and safe?
I think just to start on that before handing over to Kim, obviously Kim's on the ground day to day with all of our residents over the last couple of years. I think with Fresh, what I'm incredibly proud of is how quickly as a business that we adapted to this ever-changing kind of set of circumstances, different restrictions being brought in left, right and centre. Something that none of us have ever gone through before was quite a difficult time for everyone. But with our residents specifically within the properties, we adapted very quickly to doing more virtual activities, more virtual events where people may have been isolating within the property. Kim and the team would have been doing regular welfare checks on WhatsApp videos to see if, just to check in, just to see if they're okay. Do they need anything? Do they need food deliveries? Do they need toiletries? Do they need their parcel kind of delivered to them? You know, what is it that the team can do still day to day, still present and still available for them every day of the week, but in a very kind of different set of circumstances, I guess. A lot of things changed to be more in terms of kind of viewings, having a look around the property. Everything changed to more virtual viewings as opposed to being in person. But I think that's a really nice thing now, because everything is carried on a virtual sense. We are getting back more kind of in day-to-day events and activities and more in-person viewings in the property. But what we're finding now is that yes, you may have an in-person viewing, but actually mum or dad or a friend, a colleague also wants to be involved in that process, so we'll join and do the virtual tour as they're walking through the property with us. So it's those sorts of elements which I think is really, in a positive way, kind of moved us forward in a good way, really. But Kim, I mean, in terms of day-to-day interactions with your students, have you got any really good examples you can share?
Yeah, I mean, just like for everyone, our lives all completely changed for that period. We went from holding social events in our social spaces to suddenly having to go live on social media, delivering quizzes and things like that. We also implemented lots of other things for the students to be able to interact with each other. So we made rooms within Facebook so they could interact. We had WhatsApp groups as well. We did food deliveries to people's doors that were self-isolating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had QR codes on the back of the doors so that students could let us know if they were feeling unwell, and then we would have a Teams call with them or a WhatsApp call. For those that were isolating, we were picking up their washing, getting their washing done for them, getting their food parcels up. It was a really different way of living for everyone, but we were there the whole step of the way for all of our residents within our building, especially those that couldn't get home. So yeah, it completely changed for all of us, but what an experience.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing to hear, really. And I think that's so reassuring for international students, because who's to say that, look, in the UK, we seem to be past the worst of it now. We seem to be getting more and more back to normal. But who's to say in 6 months' time it won't return to that? So for an international student to hear that, and for them to hear the fact that actually you do help, you do support them, you almost become one big family, you join the family, is fantastic. And also to get the food deliveries and stuff like that is above and beyond. There's not many companies that would do that, so that's fantastic. I want to get a little bit more commercial. I know it's horrible, but in terms of the cities that you guys are based in, where are you? I know you're a huge company and you have properties littered everywhere, but what major cities, what major universities do you work with, and so on from there?
I mean, we are right across the UK and Ireland. So we've got properties, South Wales, we've got Swansea, Cardiff, going through to, other cities such as Bristol. Obviously, we work very closely with the University of Bristol, also UWE. Going down to where Kimberley is in Bournemouth. So you've got Bournemouth University, Arts University, Bournemouth down there, both very fantastic universities. We've got London, we're coming into Nottingham shortly for the first time, Leeds, Sheffield, Scotland, you've got Glasgow, Edinburgh. we are basically taking over the UK and Ireland. But yeah, linked in with a lot of prestigious universities directly. Even if we don't have a formal relationship with them, we do actively seek to have that really good relationship with them, so that we have all the insider information in order to support the students and make sure that the residents within our properties have got the most up-to-date and current information from each institution that they would be affiliated with.
And can I ask, I know it's a very subjective question to each student here, but I've been a student before. I know that when I decided where I wanted to go, I was up in London way. It was a case of, right, I know where I'm going, now I need somewhere to live. It's a necessity. Can you advise students that are watching and listening, you know, what to look for? You know, and like I said, I know it's subjective, but, you know, are there any key factors that you go, right, this is what you should be looking for? You know, whether you drive or not, whether or not you're looking to spend a lot of money getting to commuting to your university and whatnot. Is there any tips that you can give, or students have given you feedback for?
I think for me, and obviously I'll lead on to Kim in a second, because I'm sure she's got some fantastic hints and tips as well. But for me, I think it's very important to get to know the team that you're going to be living with, essentially, in the property, because we do look to build that community within Fresh, within every single property that we have. And I think it is the team that makes the difference between the two properties. If you're comparing like for like, a lot of properties that you'll see in every single city have very similar kind of amenity spaces. So I don't think it's necessarily the kind of whether it's got a gym or whether it's got a social area or a study room. I don't think that is as much of a difference between competing properties, really. I think it is very much what the team and what connection you have with them. I think that makes the standout difference. Obviously, cost would be a contributing factor, and the distance to university obviously has to be taken into consideration. But I very much believe with Fresh that we always go for a central location where we're close to local amenity spaces, local amenities in the city, to make sure that it's not just the property, that you've got that whole experience of obviously being in short distance to different businesses, and whether it's bars, restaurants, libraries, etc., and campuses. And obviously we always look for good travel links as well. So if we are slightly further from the city centre but closest to the campus, have we got the good transport links in order to make sure that they have that full rounded experience whilst living in the properties? Kim, I don't know if you've got anything further on that one.
Yeah, Kim, if you want to elaborate further on your feedback.
Yeah, my biggest one would be, if you're local enough, get into the building, get a feel. If not, if you're not local, if you're an international student, let's get on a Teams call, let's get on a Zoom call, let's, get one of the residence teams to show you around the building, so you get a real feel of what living in that building will be like. And we offer that at Fresh. So, if you can't come in, we'll do a WhatsApp call, whatever platform you use, we'll give you a tour and you'll meet your team. But it's definitely the team. I would also recommend having a look at their social media platforms, because you'll get to see what's going on in there. You'll see other students on there, and you'll be able to see how engaged they are. Google reviews is always a good one as well. I'd have a little look on, but yeah, get that inside feel, get some FaceTime with some of the residents if you can, and I think that will be the decision maker for most people.
Yeah, I think it's really important to remember as well, no matter what reviews you read, no matter where you go in life, whatever you look at, there is always going to be the odd bad review. Whenever you look, there's always going to be somebody somewhere that is unhappy. So just bear that in mind. I've seen a few students who've just put in a Q&A there that sometimes it's difficult getting a guarantor abroad, but you make it difficult for us to secure accommodation. I can assure you that's not just Fresh, that's across the board. That is a pretty standard requirement. And that's one of those things. Katie, do you want to elaborate further on that?
Yeah, what I would say is with Fresh, which makes us stand out as well, is that we do accept international guarantors. So you don't need to have a UK guarantor in order to come and live in any of our properties, which I think is really beneficial. Yeah. So yeah, I think that helps. Yeah,
of course it does. And I think that's a really good point, is there are a lot of accommodation providers out there that do require, especially if you go private, they'll want a UK guarantor. Whereas Fresh have been doing this for years, they know better than anyone else, they're better positioned to tell you exactly what's required, and the fact they do that is great. There is a question coming about accessibility at the properties. I know what your answer is going to be with this, and I'm sure you cover all different types of students in terms of accessibilities. But what are your properties like? Are there elevator facilities? Are there facilities to help students in wheelchairs, let's say, or people that are hard of hearing?
Yeah, I mean, across all, I believe, all of the properties. There may be one or two of the very old properties that maybe don't have lifts, but to my knowledge, all of the, or the majority of them do have lifts in each of them. But definitely we go above and beyond in terms of trying to make sure that everyone is accommodated and has everything they need in order to enjoy their time within our properties and love living there. Whether that's making any adaptations to any of the rooms. All of the rooms would have specific rooms which are DDA that would be able to, which are already fully kitted out. If there are any individuals that require more accessible options, then we have that available. We also have a robust health and safety team within Fresh, who would work very closely with all of our residents teams. So if there were any different requests that came in terms of, as you said, if there's individuals with hearing loss that need maybe vibrating pillows to be kind of added in to the room to make them aware of firearm activations and that sort of thing, then that is things which we can bring in order to support all of the residents. But yeah, open to all students.
Of course. And Kim, I imagine you see it firsthand, obviously being down on the ground, which is great. I think it's important to remember your points earlier that you mentioned about somebody always being on hand, someone always being at the properties to make you feel either welcomed or safe.
Yeah.
Not just for obviously students with disabilities or anything. It could be anything. It could be you've gone on a night out with some friends and you feel like you've had too much to drink and you could be stumbling up the stairs, whatever. There's someone there helping you, which is great. Can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, definitely. We are here for absolutely everything, whether you want advice on where to go in the town, whether your your shower water's not going down, top tips on cleaning your room, whether you're just having a really rough time and you just need someone to speak to will point you in the right direction. No matter what it is, we deal with everything. I can't tell you, there's probably better to ask me what we don't deal with. But yeah, we are always here, whether it's the resident team or we have security on over the evening. They are all trained to deliver the same service. And yeah, the door's always open.
And if I can talk more about the rooms now as well, because inevitably people left, right and centre on social media were saying, how much? Obviously, it depends on where you are. If you're going to be in London, it's going to be more expensive than, let's say, Plymouth, naturally. But tell me about the rooms. Do you have facilities for students with families? Do you have more than one bedroom properties and so on from them? What's the costs?
So as you rightly said, Gareth, it does vary very much between where you're located within the UK or within Ireland. As you did say, London would be considerably more expensive than some of the other properties in different cities. There's combination of whether you go for kind of studio accommodation or if you go for kind of shared accommodation, which can range from anything from a 3-bed shared flat up to an 8-bed, I think is one of the largest that we'd have within the portfolio. And with that, there are different grades. So we do offer, in all of the properties, we offer different rates depending on kind of the length of tenancy that you're going for, depending on how many people you're sharing with. Normally has a determining factor as to kind of the rate that you would be expecting to pay for those types of facilities. We don't unfortunately allow under 16s within the student residence across the UK or Ireland, but we do, as a business, we do look at or we are involved in build to rent. So that's non-student only properties, and also we go into co-living as well, which is a really nice concept, relatively new, kind of coming through over the last couple of years into the business, but that's a combined purpose-built accommodation where we would have both student and non-students living in the same properties, and so the social areas and the amenity areas there reflect the change in dynamic and what we need to kind of take into account there. So there's lots of different options available, lots of different kind of price points depending on, as we said, location and what your budget is really.
What should a student do then? So say they're watching and listening to this and they're going, okay, then I want to find a property. What are the next steps? Presumably they head over to your website. Have you got a search facility? Have you got editorial pages that guide you on the various different cities and the best places to live, and maybe not the best places, but where the best place for you to be would be to live, if that makes sense?
Yeah,
what
definitely.
happens next?
I mean, in order to come and book with us, come and stay with us, definitely head over to the This Is Fresh website. When you go onto the landing page there, you'll be greeted by a run through of all the cities which Fresh operate in across the UK and in Ireland there. Within each city, Fresh does manage multiple different properties, and from that you can search purely on price point if you want to. So you can get, if you've got a specific budget in mind, you can just do a quick search for that. But also if you want to know a little bit more about each of the properties, we've got fantastic galleries on there, 360 tours, videos. Before even making contact with the residence teams directly, you can have a full overview about the property, where they're located within the city, what the rooms look like, what the amenity areas are looking like, if it has a gym, study area, etc., communal dining space, and also you'd have a lovely picture of the residence manager as well to kind of greet you, so you know who your point of contact would be on your day there.
And it just goes without saying as well, I think Katie's already mentioned that they have various different properties in different cities. If you head over to the website, I think it's under the Our Locations tab, they've got various different cities ranging from, like Katie mentioned earlier, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Newcastle, Nottingham seem to come on, and Ireland as well, remember. So Katy Kim, very much appreciated. Thank you for your time today. It's been very informative. We are going to wrap up the session now, though. It's been a long week. It's been the UK Festival Week, which has had loads of different universities. We've had Chevening, a funding partner on, and obviously now we're finishing with the accommodation partner Fresh. So thank you for that, and thanks for your time. Just a bit of information now about Postgrad and what we've got to offer. Now, we've had 10 million students find their perfect program on our website, over 200 countries for you to study at, including high international scholarship providers such as Chevening and Marshall. The best advice on, like we've had today, accommodation, visas, career, English language testing support, and much more. Eligibility to win one of our £500 bursaries. Now, who's eligible? Anyone from around the world, full-time, part-time, online study. Please get your applications in. If you are thinking about heading over to Fresh and finding out more about their properties, also head over to Postgrad as well. Apply for one of those £500 bursaries and we'll knock that off your tuition costs. But for now, here's a reminder about what we've had in the week so far. Huge thank you to Fresh, Kim, Katie, very much appreciated. I'll let you just come on and wave bye and say bye-bye to everyone, but thanks for your time and much appreciated. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.